to listen to the Lapped Traffic Podcast.
What is up, Lap Traffic Nation? Welcome to episode 294 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. I am your host, the Professor Brandon Crowd. Hope you all had a great weekend. We are down to just 6 shows before episode 300. I cannot believe it. So much to do, so much to talk about. As I mentioned last week on the show, from here on out, it's dedicated to you guys because, hey, we got 6 more shows. This is the 6th season of the podcast, and we're going to count it down to episode 300. Get to talk to you guys. Haven't done any listener call-in shows this season, and that kind of played into it here. So I'm going to talk to you guys, going to talk to some people that have helped the podcast over these last 6 years, over these last what will be 300 episodes, and have some fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. Got giveaways. I got hats. I'm giving away a hat, a t-shirt, and some good stuff tonight. And I will have some more giveaways throughout the rest of the last 6 episodes here of season 6 to 300. And hey, if you want to buy a hat, they're available. As well as t-shirts, all that good stuff. If you just have to have some Lap Traffic merch, there's t-shirts on the website. You want a hat, shoot me a DM, and I'll get you taken care of. So there's the shameless plugs. Hope you all had a great weekend. I was in Philly this weekend, and oh my God, Friday night. Yes, you hear the Undertaker's music playing. Went to the One Dead Man show, got to meet the Undertaker, got a picture with him. I'm 7 years old Saturday morning watching Wrestling Superstar and Challenge, watching the Undertaker, pin some jobber in the ring and put him in a body bag, and what am I watching? And to grow up as a wrestling fan, to watch the Undertaker for 30 years perform in the ring and just appreciate the dedication to professional wrestling, to the character, all of that, and to be able to go and see him by himself, 2 hours, telling stories, interacting with the crowd, having such a great time. My cousin texted me over Labor Day weekend. He's like, dude, you want to go? And I'm like, hell yeah, let's go see the Undertaker. Then we went to Extreme Rules on Saturday and just had an absolute blast. Bray Wyatt returned. I cannot talk enough about how awesome this past weekend was. So I'll wrap with that. Otherwise, I will do 2 hours on how awesome the Undertaker show was. I told my wife, I have dragged her to quite a few wrestling shows over the years, but I'm like, listen, if the Undertaker does this here in Detroit, we are going. It will be a blast. You will love it. So there's that. All right, back to NASCAR. Let's circle. We got Tyler Riddick stuff to talk about. We got Cole Custer stuff to talk about. Are you kidding me with this? I'll get to that here in just a little bit. And tonight, like I said, we're counting down to episode 300. For the rest of the season, we're going to I'm going to mix in you guys. And tonight, we've got Mike Henry, who was a contest winner with At Atlanta Racing. Jason Majewski, Janice is going to be on, and we've got some more lined up for next week, which is awesome. So that's what's going to be on. I got Brian Neudorff as well. I am going to talk about Tyler Riddick and Cole Custer for my part of the race recap portion of the show. Lucky Dog lap down picks, and who made the final 8 in Lap Traffic Fantasy. All that and more. Let's get things rolling. Let's get our first guest on the line, and that is Jason. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, to kick off the fan participation, if you will, for the next 5 episodes. He's a fellow Michigander, and he is making his first time on the show. You can follow him on Twitter at JAStone29. It's Jason Majewski. Jason, what's up, brother? How are you?
I'm pretty good.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for kicking things off for all of the listeners, followers that are going to be on the show. I've got the rest of the shows booked, but if anybody still wants to pop on, let me know. I'm happy to squeeze you in. Jason, man, you recently just found the show, right? Towards the end of last year or something, I think it was.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome. Well, glad you found us. What part of Michigan are you in?
Grand Rapids area.
Grand Rapids. Okay, all right. So do you get over to, do you get to Berlin at all?
Not this year. I haven't. Probably been about 2 years since I've been there.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, listen, man, say you and I kind of became fans of the sport right around the same time, around 2001. Tell me a little bit about your story on how you became a fan and who your driver is now and how things have shaped for you as a fan over the last few years.
Well, it was I got this job in 1999 at a local dry ice CO2 company, and my boss at the time, Bob Mooney, huge NASCAR fan. I remember being hired there, and he's like, asked me if I was a NASCAR fan, and I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna watch cars go in circles. No way, man. It didn't take long, and so that first year I worked there, I really didn't get into it, but he said, man, just go home. The Daytona 500's coming up, and that was 2001. And he said, just watch it. Just don't watch the cars, watch everything about it. And I did. And obviously there was a tragedy that race, and that's not why I became a fan. It was, just such a terrific race, and watching, how these guys do pit stops, and watching, Michael Waltrip, and that was his first win in, like, what was it, 400 or 500 races?
Yep.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And watching him and Dale Jr. and then Dale Sr. running 1, 2, 3 coming to the line, and that tragedy happened, and I was like, holy cow. I mean, we didn't know till later what had happened, but
sure.
I was hooked from that point on.
So you were like, you tuning in every Sunday from that race on, or was it a gradual thing for you?
No. From that point on, I was hooked.
That's awesome.
Every Sunday. I got into Xfinity and truck racing at the same time. I'm not so much into them anymore, but
sure.
Then
cool.
After that happened, it was, they had announced that they were going to replace, or not replace, but, put Kevin Harvick in the number 29 white GM Goodrich car. And I remember before that happened, my boss is like, well, now, nobody ever expected this to happen. But now you got to pick your favorite driver.
Yep.
And he's like, you're not allowed to pick Jeff Gordon. They weren't Jeff Gordon fans. And I was like, okay, all right. And, in the third race, Kevin beats Jeff Gordon to the line, but, just barely. And I have been a Harvick fan since that moment.
Awesome.
That was just, exciting to me. And since that moment, that's it. It's always been Kevin Harvick. And I've been fans of other drivers too, but that's kind of my number one driver right there.
That's awesome. That's a great story. It's a great way to get into the sport, I feel like. For me, it was 2001, I was a senior in high school, and I was like, all right, man, I am going to start doing some fantasy stuff. My uncle ran who's in my fantasy league now, but he ran a league, and, I'm like, anyway, I can, bet some money as a senior in high school, like, let's do it. And I'm not even going to lie, did not watch the first 3 races. But it was the third race at Las Vegas where I had Jeff Gordon in his pool and I won. And I'm like, oh, all right, well, this is easy. So, now I start tuning in, and then I see the Atlanta race and Kevin Harvick won, and learning about what happened with Junior. And I'm like, well, Kevin Harvick seems like a cocky SOB. I'm a senior in high school, so of course I'm a cocky SOB. And
right.
Lo and behold, that's how my fandom with Kevin Harvick started. And I really didn't pay too much attention early on to the Xfinity and the Busch Series back, all the different names that our title sponsors have changed over the years. But, really as the podcast started growing 6 years ago, then that's obviously when, you're paying a lot more attention to really what's going on. You're appreciative to anybody that comes on the show. So you start rooting for them, and it's just, kind of grown from there, from a casual fan to a diehard fan to.
I love it.
Here we are now, man. So that's awesome.
I mean, I was a football junkie before that. You know, the Lions always disappointed me, and I was always kind of, you know what, I just can't do this no more.
Yeah,
I can't. And my brother, right around, he was a senior in 2002.
Okay.
And so he played football in 2001, 2002 for East Kentwood High School. And he was ranked number 1 in the state as far as running backs.
That's awesome.
He was ranked in the top 10 in USA Today for running backs. And those were good times back then.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, man. Are you going to play fantasy next year? That's the big question, I think.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna. I've just had a really busy year.
I hear you.
My wife took on a lot more responsibility at work, and it was just I got my 8-year-old, my youngest, my 8-year-old daughter, and also my 8-year-old granddaughter that lives here with us. And
very cool.
Yeah, it's busy.
Full house.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. So as a Kevin Harvick fan, as a SHR fan, what do you think of them reviewing this audio transcript from the end of the race to see if there was any collusion done?
You know what? I read up on it, before I talked to you a little bit, and I'm like, regardless of what the audio says, I mean, if you watch it, it's I don't know. It was a clean block. He was going into the corner. I mean, if it was around, anywhere else, it would probably been different, but he's a teammate. I'm always big on the data, and sometimes like Rodney Childers, he'll reply to my tweets or, like them or whatnot, but he's pretty much ignored my request for the speeding data. On what happened with Kevin and Brad the week before, but I don't know. I don't.
To me, this is where very rarely does the whole teammate become relevant on the track outside of Daytona, Talladega, and even then, you got to be lined up at the right time to be able to help somebody, and then even still. Once you come out of 4, you're all going to fan out and try to go for the win, and it goes right back to the individual. Of course, you can share data and things like that, at the shop. This is one of the rare times to where, hey, I can help a teammate out, and as long as it's, if someone's throwing a block, I mean, blocking's part of racing, if that prevented nothing wrong.
It's not like he slammed on the brakes, right?
Right. It was nowhere near, and I love Clint Boyer, nowhere near as egregious as what happened there. What was that? Maybe, God, we got to be talking 10 years, 12 years ago now, I think, when he was racing with Michael Waltrip Racing, and that incident there, to help a teammate get. And even then, I'm like, hey, you're helping a teammate out. That's, we chalk everything else up to, hey, racing's racing,
right.
Whatever advantage.
Well, just before that, Kevin was going to win that doggone thing for that caution.
Yeah.
I listened to his radio every race, and Timmy gets on there and says, just to FYI, the 20 can't win. He had an opportunity to dump him, but he didn't.
Yep.
Because he had better tires, and had Kevin dumped him and they listened to the radio, there might have been a little problem there. But
oh yeah. Well, hey, that's a veteran, realizing, hey, I'm not in the playoffs. If the 20 wasn't in the playoffs and it was just them two racing for a win without playoff implications on it, I think it might have been a different outcome there. But I think Kevin respected the playoff, sequence of events, if you will, there. And
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Kevin Harvick moment?
Oh, my on track.
I already know mine. On track.
I mean, part of it, and this is maybe a cheap one, and I'll give you another one. Just seeing him win at Michigan, the amount of times that I have has just been absolutely incredible. I mean, I'll never forget, November 2014 literally rocking back and forth, not talking to a single person that day. Phone was shut off. Like, I was just dialed in. And you know, those last few laps racing Ryan Newman. I mean, that was a very special day as a fan for me of the sport there.
Oh yeah. Championship is definitely up there. I think my favorite, and I guess it's considered an on-track moment, was the Greg Biffle incident.
Oh my God.
He was so ticked off because that was a brand new ET car. You know, they were promoting ET thing. And him standing on top of that pit box until that race was over.
Yes.
He was so freaking mad.
He was ready. Yes, he was waiting. I love it. I love
that
it.
And the Harvicking incident. That was Brad. That was great.
Good one. Another good one. All right.
And that's why I think Kevin gets kind of, you know, he's like, you know, Denny Hamlin. He's outspoken. He's going to say what he wants to say. He's going to speak his mind. And personally, I don't think NASCAR likes that. But
no, well, not right now. They don't. But
no,
you know, he is as a champ, as a, you know, on the top 10 all-time win list. He's earned the right to be able to sound off, in my opinion. But all right, well, so that we don't lose everybody here thinking this is the Kevin Harvick podcast. Who do you think is going to make it to the Final Four, and who's your championship pick?
I'm going to go with Quiet Ryan.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He's been pretty quiet. I don't think Chase Briscoe is going to make it.
Okay.
Chase Elliott.
Yep.
I think Ryan Blaney.
Okay.
The 9, the 12. God, I had them written down and I can't find the paper now.
Hamlin?
No, I don't think I think he's not. He hasn't been consistent enough, I don't think.
Logano?
I think Logano's going to go.
Logano? Yeah. All right, you got one
I think
more.
it's going to be the one car.
The one, Ross Chastain. All right, and then who picks up the championship?
See, those two have been pretty quiet ever since all that incident with Ross Chastain.
Oh yeah.
You know, yeah. He's been quiet for a while. So, and so is Ryan. And I think I think that might be my pick for the Final Four.
All right. And who takes it home?
I think Quiet Ryan does.
Wow. With a win or without a win? Does he pick up a win over these next?
No, I'm going to go without a win. I'm going to go with, this is going to be the first year that the champion doesn't win the race.
Okay. All right. I mean, hey, with the oddball start to the playoffs with 5 drivers not in the playoffs picking up wins, you know, now, I mean, that's not out of the question, I would say, for sure. So cool. Awesome, man. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. Wouldn't be
always. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Tell everyone where they can follow you on Twitter.
Oh God, what is it? At JStone4, JASTONE 4. Or is it 29?
20, I think it's 29. I've got 29.
Might be 29.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, thank you so much. It was great to talk to you. We'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the rest of the season, and thanks for helping count down to episode 300, man.
Thank you again. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
All right, Lap Traffic Nation. Great to talk to Jason there, his first time on the show. Let's get another first-timer, but long-time follower. Let's get Janice on the line. And then, the professor has got a rant to do. It's been a long time since the professor's called class into session, and that's what we're going to do after we talk to Janice. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, to continue fan appreciation and all that good stuff as we count down to episode 300. My next guest, she's been a follower for quite some time. She's a fan of Kyle Larson, and I am excited to have her on the show. You can follow her on Twitter at Corvette1RL. It is Janice. Janice, what's up? How are you?
I'm doing great, other than being a little disappointed that Larson got kicked out of the playoffs yesterday.
You know, I mean, it's... every year since this playoff format started back in 2014, I feel like the round from 12 to 8 has just like provided some surprises. And there are people that you would like in permanent marker be like, oh yeah, they'll get to the round of 8, no problem. And then we start to see, the parity this year with, all right, we got 1 new driver, 2 new, all the way up to how many different drivers we've had. And then that permanent marker's like, can I get a pencil with a Goody Racer on it? Because I'm not sure who's going to make it. But, crazy year. You look at the dominance that he had last year, started off pretty strong and then tapered off a little bit. But, 2 wins. 2 wins solid, but yeah, just kind of trailed along there. What did you think of the Roval this weekend in particular?
I enjoy the Roval. I know a lot of people don't, but I actually enjoy the Roval, and I also enjoy the road course down at Daytona. But what I saw yesterday was a lot of people being extremely cautious for an extreme period of time, which made the race a little bit on the boring side.
Yes,
But it made up for it in the last stage. And boy, I didn't know whether I was going to ever get to catch my breath because I kept following Larson and following his points and screaming at the television.
Absolutely. Well, for a minute there, Talladega was the last race of this round. And I feel like everyone kind of, we'd get the longest single file run at Talladega that we've ever had. And because everybody at least wanted to have that chance at the end. And I think that's kind of what we saw yesterday was we've seen the Roval provide some incredible racing. All of our road courses have provided some great racing, not just this year, years past. That's why we've gone from 2 a year to 6 to 7 a year. And I think we just kind of saw that play out a little bit. Everyone wanted to at least have that fighting shot at the end. They knew they can't win it on lap 1. And I think that's why we maybe saw that get a little strung out there early on.
Well, it made up for it in the last stage.
Yes, that it did. Janice, how long you been a fan of NASCAR?
Oh, let's see, probably 30 years or so.
Awesome. Where are you from, Janice?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay, all right. So have you been to any races over the last few years or anything?
I am a constant companion at the Daytona races. I'm always there.
Excellent. I love it. A constant companion. That's fantastic. And how long you been following the show?
Let's see. I saw where you had your podcast on Twitter, and I think it was like the middle of 2020. I had retired in March.
Okay.
And I picked up your podcast, and I loved it. And I started having it downloaded every week and look forward to it every time it comes up.
Oh, Janice, literally that melts my heart. That's why I'm here, and I appreciate it. I think this is an awesome way to count down to episode 300 and get to chat with you guys because I haven't done any listener shows in a minute. I used to do 1 or 2 a year, and I haven't done any this year, and I'm like, well, this is the perfect way to get everybody that wants to be involved in the mix for a little bit and involved, which is awesome there. So I appreciate that so much. All right. You're also a very big fan of Alden. So I also have to thank you for that because you respond to almost every picture I tweet, which is like, I don't know, like, should I put pictures out there? Should I not? But everyone seems to eat up those chubby cheeks. So I appreciate that.
He's adorable.
Thank you.
Adorable.
Thank you. I'll put the teaser out there. His 8-month pictures. He'll be 8 months towards the end of the week. And we've got an oversized pumpkin that we're going to put him in for some pictures there. So the cuteness overload is going to continue here in just a couple more days.
Great. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Janice, who do you think is going to make the Final Four? Who's your championship pick now that Larson's out of the mix?
Okay, this was kind of hard for me because the stats don't really, in my personal opinion, play into it with this new car.
Sure.
They can have great races all year long, and then all of a sudden, like Larson, they're gone. But I really think that, and unfortunately, some of these people I really love. Blaney, I don't think he'll make the playoffs, the next cut. I don't think Byron will. I don't think Briscoe will. And I'm caught between Bell and Hamlin. I really don't want Hamlin to make it, but I think he will, so it'll be Bell that will be out. So.
I can get behind William Byron has kind of just quietly kind of limped his way through each round here. He's got a couple wins. I won't call him the Ryan Newman of the playoffs, but if he makes it to the next round without a win, he'll be very Ryan Newman-like there. So I'm with you there. I don't think Hamlin makes it. Logano has been very quiet. His points have what helped him. Now it's put up or shut up time at this point. With the possibility of only one person making it on points, assuming playoff drivers are going to win over these next three races. I'm with you. Yours and mine are pretty similar there. I'm torn between Logano and Blaney and Byron and Christopher Bell. I think those could be some, coin flips there for sure. So
yeah.
Awesome. And then all right, Janice, who is your championship pick for 2022?
Well, I think that the Elliott Nation will be ready to stone me. I'm going to say it's going to be Logano.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. I tell you what, Logano's grown on me over the years. And of course, anytime anybody comes on the podcast, I'm just now an instant fan since they, take the time to come on an amateur podcast. But Logano has definitely changed a little bit over the years. He's still the old Logano, but he's tamed himself down a little bit, and he does some great charity work and things like that. So I'd be okay if Logano took the Ford banner back to the championship circle there for sure. So awesome.
I'm a Chevy person, but I love a lot of the drivers that drive the Fords.
That's because they all used to drive Chevys.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I'm with you. I am right there with you. Oh, that's great. Janice, where can everybody follow you on social media?
Just Twitter. That's the only one I'm on.
All right. And that is at, what's your Twitter handle?
At Corvette Girl, and the I is a number 1 in girl. That's it.
Awesome. Janice, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for the support of the podcast. I really appreciate it, and hope you enjoy the rest of the season, okay?
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right, Lap Traffic Nation, great to talk to Janice. Okay, all right. Yes, school bell. Class is in session, Lap Traffic Nation. I got two things I got to talk about, and that is, one, Tyler Reddick. Announcement out today that Tyler Reddick is not going to be driving for RCR next year and will be debuting a season early with 2311, which, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that is, I think, the best for both sides. That would have just been a very long 36 races for Tyler Reddick, a long 36 races for RCR, a long 36 races for his team. It would have been very hard to share information, and just not a good thing, and so I think this is going to be the best for all parties involved, fans involved, everything. And here's the interesting thing for me with this, right? Because even Jeff Striegel and I talked about this a couple weeks ago when he was back on. It was so weird when this announcement was made. Here we are almost a year and a half to where the announcement was made. Tyler Reddick wasn't getting locked up. Denny Hamlin reached out to him. And lo and behold, we've got this announcement to where basically going to have a lame duck season for Tyler Reddick and whatever team he's driving for, right? And so now, if Tyler, and here's my question to you guys, if Tyler Reddick and Denny Hamlin don't make this deal, does Kyle Busch get signed with RCR? And I don't think so. I don't see how RCR would, one, go and pursue a third car option in Kyle Busch if that announcement's not made. So then the question becomes, well, where would have Kyle Busch ended up? And could it have been a lower tier team? Could it have been, I don't think he was going to HMS. I think that's a no-brainer. So then it really becomes would we be talking about Kyle Busch, I think, going to SHR next year if Tyler Reddick doesn't make an early driver change announcement and kicks the silly season off. So that's very interesting to me. And like I said, I think this is the best possible option for all parties involved with the way that thing has turned out there. Okay, now, speaking of SHR, we've got this Cole Custer thing, and I am pissed off with this penalty. And here's why. And I am going to, don't come at me with, oh, you're a Harvick fan, you're an SHR fan. No. This is strictly a principle argument here that I have. Okay, so Cole Custer has been penalized $100,000. SHR's been docked 50 points towards the owner's championship. Fine. Hey, odds are they weren't going to win it anyways. Last week, Rodney Childers suspended for 4 races because of the 4-car situation. It seems like, now this is a fan statement. I will preface that. Seems like NASCAR's picking on SHR a little bit, right? Okay, now let's get back to the reality of things here. In that, why I feel that this is a BS penalty to the 41. He did not bring out a caution. If a caution had come out, fine, no problem. I get it. Did not bring out a caution, okay? It was not on a restart. We were in the middle of a lap. Okay. 1, Chase Briscoe's going, he's passing the cars, like didn't impact the outcome of the race. Now, did Cole Custer potentially woe up or slow or throw a block? Probably. But last I checked, we throw blocks at Daytona and Talladega, do we not? I'm pretty sure the leader has been known to throw a few blocks out there, right? Am I right? Am I wrong? And last I checked, teammates, Daytona, Talladega, have pushed some teammates to the win. Have they not? Am I wrong? What? Huh? Where are we at there? Okay. So at what point then, why is this a problem? Even if it was intentionally done, I still don't have a problem with it because we push intentionally our teammates to the lead at Daytona or Talladega. We intentionally, as a team, will drop to the back at Daytona or Talladega. So why was this an issue? This is a non-issue. There should be. If you want to argue this with me, I want to know why you feel that penalty is justified, because I think it is absolutely absurd. What's the point of saying we have teammates if you can't help your teammate out and not deliberately wreck somebody, whatever. Okay, did he cause a bottleneck? Sure. Is that the last? Is this the only time we've seen a bottleneck on a road course? No. So from that regard, I mean, hey, you didn't want to be impacted by it. Then be ahead of him. Be ahead of him. And that pissed me off seeing that. And I can 100% tell you, I don't care what team, what organization, I would be just as appalled by that right there. And listen, I feel like I'm an objective person. So as a sports fan, you've heard me talk about the eyeball test before. The eyeball test tells me that should not be a penalty. Now, if there is something else that I am missing, that I didn't see, or that was looked at that's not going to be disclosed, then fine, I can accept those realities if they are realities. But from the eyeball test, I don't see it. If you disagree with me, let me know and let me know why. So there's my little rant. There's that. Now let's talk about who did not make it to the next round. And I am just absolutely flabbergasted that that Kyle Larson is out. Had pretty substantial bonus points. He had the 2 wins. I'm blown away by that one. And, Chase Elliott, obviously, Joey Logano, he's been hit or miss, and I'm not surprised that he's in. Ross Chastain, I'm surprised only because of, I thought maybe he would have annoyed enough people to where throughout these last 3 races that could have been a situation at some point. Christopher Bell, picked up the win, obviously, got him through. I don't know if Bell didn't win, I don't know if that would have changed anything there. I did not see any stats on that one. Blaney's just pointing this. Blaney's having a Ryan Newman playoff. William Byron, okay. Denny Hamlin, okay. Chase Briscoe, if I would have had to guess, it would have been Larson and not Briscoe in there. Suarez, I get it. Let's see. Cindric, I get it. Bowman, just been so inconsistent this year. So that's where we're at there. Okay. I'm not going to bore you guys anymore with just me babbling on. Let's do a little social media. But before I do social media, let's talk to Mike Henry, who is a winner of a social media / Atlanta Racing Throwback Brand Lap Traffic sponsored prize pack as part of the giveaway. That was going to be a thing. Get to come on the show and talk for a little bit. So let's get Mike Henry on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line. You can follow him on Twitter at Mike50545628. He is one of the contest winners from at Atlanta Racing, who I have partnered up with this year to do some giveaways and grow our accounts, and it has been awesome. And this last one, I'm like, you know what? We're counting down to episode 300. Let's get the contest winner on the line. So joining me on the line, it's Mike Henry. Mike, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I am awesome, man. Happy belated birthday. Welcome to the show, all that good stuff.
Well, thank you very much. Nice to be on.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So let's start with the birthday. You were down in Tennessee. You've got a Michigan area code, which is awesome. So are you still in Michigan?
Yeah, we just came back on Monday. We came back. What happened is that a bunch of friends, our kids used to play hockey together. So we've always stuck together, every now and then we go out for drinks and all that. But for our 50th birthday, we go somewhere. A friend and I, one of the birthdays we did was New Orleans. We went down there, and for my 50th birthday, I decided to go to Nashville for a couple of days, and that was awesome fun.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been to Nashville once. It's a hell of a party scene. I was caught off guard with that. I was expecting low key honky tonks, and what I got was Las Vegas without casinos.
Exactly, or New Orleans without the Bourbon Street. Exactly what it felt like. I mean, I think there's more people actually in Nashville walking around than down in New Orleans.
I believe it. Where in Michigan is home?
Port Huron, Michigan is about an hour away from Detroit. So
yes, sir. Very familiar. I'm in Warren, Michigan. So
okay.
Yeah, cool. Good deal, man.
Not that far.
Glad to have another Michigander and all that. So let's talk about the giveaway. You got an awesome prize pack there, which is awesome. And, you found the show. So we're glad to have you as we count down to episode 300. That's awesome.
Cool. That was an awesome prize package. I've been following the show, so that was a cool part of the prize package that I got there, along with a nice Tony Stewart car and the hat I like. So
excellent.
Everything was kind of cool.
Awesome. I love it. All right, let's talk a little NASCAR. How did you get into NASCAR? How long you been following? Do you get to any races? What's your NASCAR story?
Well, a long time ago, I used to have a guy who was like a second dad to me. Me and his son hung out. We did everything together. And we actually went down. He worked for the Detroit News back in the day. And we went down to when the Grand Prix was down on Belle Isle.
Sure.
So actually, my first induction into racing was the Indy cars. But then we went down to Auto City up in Flint. And we hung around there for a little bit. And then it just kind of graduated into NASCAR. And pretty much how I got into NASCAR was by his name was Dan Montgomery. He was a great guy. And he was a second dad to me. So, I appreciate that for the rest of my life for him. So
that's so cool. That's awesome. Very cool.
Right.
Who's your driver? Who did you grow up with your driver? Who is it now? All that
I grew up with the Intimidator Dale Earnhardt.
Awesome.
I love him to death, and I always have. And one of the saddest days of my life was when he died. So
I believe that. So did you transition over to Junior? Did you transition to Harvick?
I transferred over to both, actually.
Okay.
You know, when he died, I kind of lost an actual true favorite, I guess you would say, and just kind of grew up with, people like Junior, who was obviously his son, and then Harvick, who took over for him, I like. But I still like Harvick a lot, but now I'm kind of like a hometown boy, so I like, Kozlowski and Jones a lot.
Yes, I tell you what, I think Eric Jones, he's on that cusp right now as someone that, is he going to have that breakout that we're all we would like to see in a Michigan guy? Will he get his Brad Keselowski moment, if you will, and be able to go out there and do some damage?
And I would love that because he's like, from a small town, so a small town boy doing good in Michigan.
Absolutely.
That'd be awesome for me.
Absolutely. What are you thinking here as we start the round of 8? There's some surprises in there, at least as far as I'm concerned, with Briscoe. Ross Chastain, I'll say is a surprise just because I didn't know if the competition would let him get in potentially with not making too many friends out there. Christopher Bell, early in his career, making it to the round of 8. What do you think we're going to see here over these next 4 races?
I actually think with everything that Chastain has endured, I think he might be the champ.
Wouldn't that be something? Trackhouse racing, to be able to go out there, get it done. Phoenix will play very well to his driving style. So if he can get there, I think every year when we get to whether it was Homestead or whether it's Phoenix, you've got 1 or 2 guys that you're going to be like, it's going to be one of them. And then the other, the third and fourth are maybe the dark horse, if you will. If Chastain can get there, he'll probably be the underdog as far as like a Vegas bet line. But I would totally see him being able to go out there if he can get there and getting it done. And that would be, that would be a good, as much, and this is my thing with Chastain, when he was with, and I've said this before, but when he was with Nice in the Truck Series, everybody was, Ross Chastain was the Cinderella story. And now he's got so much heat on him. I think, though, if he were to go out there and get the win, even though the fan base has maybe, turned a little bit on him, I think the fan base still likes what Trackhouse Racing is doing. And if that type of upset, if you will, were to happen, I think NASCAR needs that right now based on, the fan base itself not being very happy with some of NASCAR's decisions lately.
Exactly. I mean, it's probably come down to him and Denny Hamlin, and I think he'll probably just pull it out, basically.
Yeah.
I would like to see that, but who knows? It is NASCAR, and you never know what happens in that final race.
Absolutely. I hear you there. Liz, I got to ask you, Mike, you've been following the show for a minute. Are you going to join the Lap Traffic Fantasy League next year?
I might. I'm not big into fantasy leagues because of time-wise, but I might do that actually, just for fun,
Hey, the best part about it is that it's become a staple of the show, and you get a custom Lap Traffic trophy. I mean, it is. If you win a stage or you win you win it all. There are trophies on the line that have become, just synonymous with the show. So we've had over 100 people the last couple of years. I want to get this thing over 200 players next year. So I am recruiting hard for Lap Traffic.
Well, you can count
Fantasy.
me in then. How's that sound?
Awesome. Yes, I love it. Tell your friends.
I will.
Awesome,
I will definitely do that.
I love it. Mike, all right, hold on. Mike, this is what we got to have a little chat about, Mike. Mike, what's with the 32-digit numbers on the Twitter handle, man? We got to fix that.
That's what I was given. I got to change it, I know, but like I said, I'm busy with working all the time, and I got a 6-year-old son, so I fight my battles when I can.
I hear you. I got an 8-month-old upstairs that I can hear, but Oh man, no,
I can hear mine trying to sneak into the room I'm talking to you on right now, actually. So.
I know. I just had to razz you there a little bit. Everybody, Mike, thanks so much for calling in, and congrats again on the prize pack. Enjoy the rest of the season, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
Thanks for letting me be on. I appreciate it a lot.
Thanks, man. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
See ya. All right, Lat Traffic Nation, great to talk to Mike, one of our many contest winners. And who knows, maybe we'll get another contest winner on before things are over. Let's do a little Lab Traffic social media. Everybody make sure you check out the website, thelabtrafficpodcast.com, Facebook Lab Traffic Podcast, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all at Lab Traffic PC. If you've made it this far into the show, leave a review on whatever platform you're listening on. It would be greatly appreciated. And I've got a Lapped Traffic Podcast hat winner. This is the first hat to get sent out. Like I said, at the start of the show, I've got some awesome trucker hats from the Throwback brand. They're awesome. The patchwork is amazing. Stitch work is awesome. The hat colors are great. So without further ado, Kylie Marshall Stark at NASCAR_Kylie, you are our winner of the Lap Traffic Podcast prize pack. So send me a DM with your info. I will get that out to you. Make sure you're following at Atlanta Racing and at the Throwback brand, and I will get some more hats and prize packs out there over the next few weeks. Might even have one out tonight. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. We've got some new followers. Jonathan at John Orendorff, 09, Chase Elliott fan from New York. Ethan at Viva La Ethan, co-host of The Marbles with Soda and Ethan. Matthew Jones at Fitted Jones NASCAR, or at Fitted Jones is NASCAR and Falcons fan. Welcome to the show, guys. Tell your friends. Don't forget about stickers and koozies. I've got them for free. All you have to do is fill out the contact page on the website, and I will get them out to you. All right. Let's see. It's been a minute since we've had Mr. Brian Neudorff on the line for some weather. So let's talk some Big Ten football with him, as well as the forecast for Las Vegas. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me back on the line. You can follow him on Twitter at NASCAR_WXMAN, along with Aaron Studwell at Race Weather. After a small hiatus, welcome back, Mr. Brian Neudorff.
Small. What is small? All right.
Subjective. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I mean, keeping track of your hiatuses is like trying to figure out the NASCAR playoffs. I'm just saying, okay?
And their rules and regulations.
And the rules, yeah. I mean, 1 minute,
Oh, yeah. Man. Yes.
First, my teammate comes on, and then it's okay, and then I'm penalized because Aaron did come on another. It's just I can't keep up. It's just...
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, man. We can get into that.
That wasn't real. That wasn't relative whatsoever.
No, none whatsoever. Well, listen. Before we get into NASCAR, because there's a plethora we can touch upon if we want. So the Purdue Boilermakers, your team. I know it's been a interesting season for you guys. But you did get to go on field with the marching band alum and all of that. How was that? And that was a blast. That was cool.
Oh, that was an absolute blast. I mean, for those who don't know, the big reason it was a lot of fun is this year my one of the twins made the Purdue marching band, for those who don't know. And so he represents the Big Ten flags. Now, the downside, and my wife, I need to make sure I clarify that too. My wife marched alongside all of us too, because she marched a few years when she was at Purdue. And so, all of us were there in our so-called uniforms, be it the uniform for the alumni band or our son. Now, he was what they call game day staff, but what we used to call in the day was an alternate. So he wasn't in the main block. So he wasn't out there on the field as we were doing the same drill, but he was still dressed, still there, still part of everything. So that was a lot of and very exciting. So that in itself was a lot of fun, and we had a good time. The only thing the only negative is that this is a situation where a win feels like a loss against the Florida Atlantic. That game was way too close than it should have been.
Well, I mean, you guys have, outside of, I don't know what to say about Penn State. I'll comment more about Penn State after this weekend.
Yes.
But I mean, I look at you guys beat Maryland. We beat Maryland. We struggled to beat Maryland. You guys beat a 21 ranked Minnesota team. Like, I mean, maybe you guys should be able to beat Nebraska at home. I feel like, you know, I mean, you guys, and I think you touched on it a couple weeks ago. I wouldn't accept it for a Michigan team, so I get where you will come from on that. But you guys can still have a pretty salvageable season.
Well, and you know, after that first game, I mean, looking back at Penn State and then even Syracuse, I mean, and ultimately those losses are on Purdue. And nothing now to any Syracuse fans and Penn State fans that are listening, your teams are good. You're ranked right now. But ultimately, if you go back and watch those games, Purdue had opportunities where they were in control, but either through bad decisions by the coach or stupid penalties, they lost the game. I mean, they had that game, and I mean, but that's part of the game. So ultimately, and then all the other games were really, really close. I mean, Florida Atlantic was way closer than it should be. Then again, we also didn't have our starting quarterback and a lot of other starters. So we were down several players. And then, we surprised us by beating Minnesota at Minnesota, which was the first time we had ever won at their brand new stadium. And on the road. And then, we went on the road and won a second road game. And it was closer than maybe it should have been. But again, we found a way to pull it out. I mean, listen, Purdue fans are never comfortable. I mean, as we've said many, many times on this show, we're a verb. You know, if we can Purdue away a game, we will. I mean, it's been a much better season. I mean, and then also to sit here, we're just gluttons for punishment. Yes, we could be sitting at, be undefeated right now. And granted, we have an extremely easy schedule, but there's been some surprise teams. I mean, who would have thought we're sitting here, in the West with tied with Nebraska and some other teams that are tied for the West.
Sure.
So
yep.
And then, because I'm down here in the Louisville area, just kind of a side note, it sounds like, obviously Louisville's not been great, but they managed to beat Virginia. They want our coach so badly because he loves Louisville. He's from Louisville. They've tried twice already to steal him from us. And it sounds like they'll probably be looking for a new coach. They've been wanting to get a new coach for some time now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there if we keep Brom or not. So
good deal. I did not know that about your coach there. That'll be.
Oh, he was a quarterback, played for Louisville. So he's like, a son. They come down. I mean, they come down often. I mean, he loves this city, and he's even said, but I mean, if he more likely the thought of Purdue fans and a Purdue alum is that if he, especially those of us who are around the Louisville area, from those who know, it's like if he turns them down now, his opportunity to return home would be done. So
sure. Yep.
He'll either need to make this decision and go, or basically hang that up. I mean, I think it's silly. Again, nothing against you ACC fans, but given the way the conferences are realigning themselves and stuff like that.
Yep.
I don't know if I would, and nothing against it, I don't know if I would want to be in the ACC rather than being in the Big Ten. That's just
could agree with that statement 100% there. Absolutely.
I mean, even if you are a Purdue and you've got, the likes of, Michigan and Ohio State, then UCLA and, USC, and then all the other schools, there's still some huge benefits and the money and we're making huge strides on upgrading our stadium. So yeah. And I'm going to be honest, the one thing I think, and I know this is a NASCAR podcast, so sorry.
That's all right. It's tangents are allowed here. We're good.
I'm the king of those. You got me started on something. One of the takeaways from going back to when I was in band versus when my son was, and I was there during the Breezes era. So in the most modern time, that's one of the best, times of a Purdue fan was when Breeze was there, our last time to go to a Rose Bowl. And even then, the crowd and even the student section is more into the band, more into being a part of this culture and pregame stuff. I mean, there's a unique feel when I need to go to Ann Arbor. I want to go to all these different places, but it definitely has a place. It has a feel of a school that has a tradition. It has this feel of an atmosphere that the fans are just as much involved of the game itself. Versus going to IU where there's nothing. There's no something they do. I mean, yes, every kickoff we scream IU sucks. But,
Right.
hey.
Well, I tell you what, I haven't been to the Big House in, I'm going to call it, let's see, 6 to 8 years, somewhere around there. So if Purdue makes the trip, if that's on the schedule next year in the Big House, let's have a conversation.
That sounds good. Oh, and I mean, let's just put it this way. My son was telling us, we were at a bar watching the game, and he said during kickoff in Maryland how sparse it was. It was so sparse, during one of our kickoffs, he heard IU. So that meant the small fan base of Purdue fans there were loud enough to be picked up. So
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Anyway, so NASCAR, right? This is a NASCAR podcast.
Yes, NASCAR. I mean, just broke a little bit ago with regards to the penalty with Cole Custer. We got Kyle Larson not making it to the next round. I mean, it is, from that regard, I mean, you've got some pros, you've got some cons. The car has definitely, stolen the show in a negative light over the last few weeks. There's some things going on. I mean, it's an interesting final 8. I don't think there were many of us that maybe had Chase Briscoe in our final 8. I'm sure some people probably didn't think Ross Chastain was maybe going to be able to make his way through. Suarez is out. I could have gone either way on maybe Suarez or Briscoe, And then you got Ryan Blaney limping around there, no wins and still making it and getting it done. So it's been crazy.
As we've said, consistency.
Yes.
I get wins.
Yeah, absolutely.
At this point, okay, I'm just going to swear. So just warning, given the fuckery that led up to all of this,
what an appropriate
I would
word.
Honestly love to see him win it with no wins.
Right? I mean, hey, yep, let's.
Or if he does get a win, it's the last race.
Yes.
That would just be ideal, that he went all this way, no wins, and wins the last one, whatever. And like I said, it goes back to all of this stuff, how some drivers got in, some drivers didn't, because of what was going on and stuff like that. So that's just my take. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out who made the playoffs. No, I'm just teasing. It's just, and I mean, going back to what we were talking about, helping your teammate. 1 minute, it's exciting to see a NASCAR driver helping their teammate. And then on the other hand, oh no, it's not a good idea for your NASCAR to help your teammate. Maybe it's because of who you knock out of the playoffs. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an ugly situation there, I think. And, the fan base is going to erupt, whether they're in favor of the decision or not in favor of the decision. You'll have a polarization aspect there with it, but in the end, what it boils down to is inconsistent officiating. But that's not exclusive to NASCAR. We get it across the board.
Like the NFL and the NCAA or the Big Ten.
Right.
So,
yeah. It is. One of the local radio guys here in Detroit on the sports radio has always said, if it comes down to officiating should never come down to determining the game, right? And if you're going to blame it on the officiating, you probably need to look back at your performance in the game if that's the scapegoat you're trying to use. And, so from a driver perspective on someone that didn't make it through, was it the officiating that caused that, or is it your performance over the prior 3 races as the reason why you didn't make it through? And
let's be honest too, unlike other sports where officiating is way more involved. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that, because obviously NASCAR has officiating when it comes to right before the race, but all of this stuff is, done well ahead of time, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
So there's that. But, unlike other races, like during the race or during the game, the officiating is outside of maybe
it's pretty cut and dry. You got
Yeah,
equipment
and
outside the box, penalty. You know, like
Too fast.
they have, you know, those are relatively, you know, measurable,
yes,
you know, facets of the race, if you will, to where it's cut and dry. Like, you know,
nor do we have like 7 red flags so that the officiating can go back and review something.
Right? Yeah. Yep. No.
You know what? Here's my crazy prediction for next year. They're going to let crew chiefs have flags so that they can throw them from the box and challenge a call.
Oh my God! Could you imagine? That would be that would be actions detrimental to stock car racing if they did that.
I would just give up, because then I would have people because then people would be asking Aaron and I, what's your prediction on how many? I don't just do the weather.
Oh, well, what a segue. Speaking of weather, we are headed to Sin City for Las Vegas racing. We've got
yes, I know. I
Xfinity
believe
Cup. How we looking?
All dry. The concern is towards Sunday, maybe Saturday. Again, we're talking several days out. But the biggest concern would be the possibility of where we're looking at a potential system coming in, what we call an upper level system coming off of the Pacific across Southern California that likely could produce maybe a chance, right now it's a very, very small chance of rain on Sunday. Very, very tiny because it is the desert, but you know, we have seen it with winds and all the other strange stuff there in Vegas over the last few years, especially now that we've had this later race versus the March race. So, you know, just something to keep an eye on. Other than that, I think it looks, I had temperatures in my head and I forgot, so I can just pull them up on my screen while we're talking about it right here. So just give me a hot second.
Not a problem.
And taking a look here, you know, it's Vegas. So going into the weekend, you know, heading in there, they're there Thursday, Friday, you got 90s, you're near 90. That system will bring temperatures down into the mid 80s by Sunday. But again, it is a very, very small chance of showers on Sunday, but that can usually mean some winds too, potentially, if it doesn't make its way to the ground. So those are just some things that overall need to be looked at and watched. Outside of that, it should be a fairly dry forecast. And I know NASCAR, outside of like some of the races we had, Daytona and a few other races, even some threatening rain in Texas, which in itself was a debacle. You know, all in all, you know, I know fans love to kind of talk about how weather's bad. Every race, weather's a problem. And it really hasn't been this season. I mean, I've been very not active, except for the few times that I've had to be. So,
yeah, no, I mean, as long as you run and finish the race on the scheduled day, in my opinion, there's not a whole lot you can get too upset about. I mean, you know, if it drags over into a Sunday race to Monday or a Saturday night race to Sunday after, you know, that's when I think you can say weather impacted race weekend. But if everyone's packing up and heading home at the scheduled day, that's a win in my book.
And I agree. The only time, because generally I think most fans travel by vehicle, but a few would fly to a race. But I'm hoping fans, because of the aspect of NASCAR, don't schedule like a flight like really close to the end of a race, you know,
right?
Because you know you're playing, because there could be a crash that causes a huge red flag.
Yep.
There could be damage to the wall or the safety thing. So you know, there's always that, and I always tell fans, if you're going to make plans and you can, even if you cancel, I mean, usually canceling it well ahead of time if you know the weather's nice.
Yep.
Always maybe book that extra day.
Get that buffer. Absolutely.
And then cancel if you don't need to. Then that way you don't have to pay for it. So.
Yep. Excellent, sir. Well, appreciate you. And everyone, make sure you follow Brian on Twitter at NASCAR_WXMAN for any updates this week, along with Aaron Studwell at Race Weather. And sir, we'll catch you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and look, I never even brought up the fact that you almost lost to IU. So, you know, there you go.
Appreciate you. All right, man.
No mention that you were tied at halftime. Anyway.
All right, we'll catch you later. All right, Lap Traffic Nation. Great to talk to Brian. And you know what time it is. It is time for this week's Lucky Dog and Lap Down picks. You guys know the drill. Tweet your picks. I'll read them on the show. Tag you guys on social media. My lucky dog, I've got two of them. And that is me for getting to meet The Undertaker and what may or may not be announced here in just a minute with regards to Lap Traffic Fantasy. My lap down, oh man, it's got to be the car. I mean, I don't know what else to say right now. I mean, we all know what's going on. We know there's some things that need to be fixed. If there's any light at the end of the tunnel, it's that there's only 4 races to go. And listen, we've had some positive things this year with the car, and it can be built upon. And I think that will happen in the off season. There's no doubt about that. There will be some changes and adjustments made, and we'll see what comes from that. All right, Scott at 1985 Wagner, Lucky Dog Chase Briscoe for making it to the next round. Lucky Dog assist to Cole Custer for the brake check. I love it. Lap down NASCAR and NBC as typical. Further into the playoffs, the less you can find info on how the rest of the field is doing. And they talk about sponsors. Brandon at Brandon K. Carl, Lucky Dog. Us, Christopher Bell. He freaking stole that one at the end there. My lap down. Who gives a shit? I was at the track today. My first time going to Charlotte. I drank way too much and had a damn good time. Hell yeah, Brandon. I love it. That's awesome. Chris at USMC _ NASCAR Fire, Lucky Dog. C. Bell, lap down. All but the last 5 laps or so of this race. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I got to watch it on fast forward on the DVR, so it didn't seem that bad to me, but I get it. Colin at Colin _ cars, Lucky Dog to Christopher Bell for having a great Game 7 moment. That's a great analogy there. I love it. Lap down to the defending champ not making it into the round of 8. Feels like a disappointment for Larson. Absolutely. David at David C. James, Lucky Dog, another great Roval weekend at Charlotte. Lap down to my son, peeing every 20 minutes. Always fun with Aiden, though. That's awesome. I love it. Jason at J.A. Stone 29. Well, I thought hard about it. Lucky Dog goes to the 14 for having a teammate. Right place, right time. Absolutely. What's wrong with that? Nothing. Lap down belongs to NASCAR for doing everything in their power to stop the Ford team for winning. Yep. Bias AF. Hey, at least you're honest. I appreciate the honesty. Jess at Iowa NASCAR fan, Lucky Dog, the 20 team for putting on and getting fresh tires. A lap down, Larson for overdriving it and taking himself out of the playoffs. Matt at Camper News, Nat, Lucky Dog, C. Bell able to clinch his way to the round of 8 with the win in what was kind of like a 2-minute drill. Yes, I love the football analogy. Lap down, Kyle Larson not able to make it to the round of 8. Matthew at CH9SE fan, Lucky Dog goes to Nelly. Man gave the coat off his back and a big hug. Respect a lot. I did see that. That's pretty sweet. Mick at Godux5 _ Mick, a Lucky Dog has to be C. Bell. Needed a walk-off and got it. A lap down, Larson got himself eliminated from Drivers' Championship. Can still get the owners. Not the same. Yeah, I feel you. Not the same. WF Professor at Ryan _ Hammond 3, Lucky Dog. Team orders in NASCAR, the 41 blocking into the backstretch chicane to get the 14 in a great spot to advance. Lap down, first 3 hours of a boring race. Oh, feel you. Okay. All right. That is going to do it for this week's Lucky Dog and a Lap Down picks. Let's see here. I think we all know what's left. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, time to close this fun-filled follower-listener show out with some Lap Traffic Fantasy. We are down to 8. Who made it? We'll get to that in just a second. Just a reminder, get your picks in by 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Use hashtag LTFantasy. We're getting ready to crown some winners here in just a couple of weeks. But joining me on the line, it's been a minute since we've had someone on for the fantasy segment, and he's no stranger to the fantasy segment. It is David James. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, Brandon. How are you doing today? Happy Las Vegas race weekend to you.
Yes, thank you. Same to you. Yes, we are headed to Sin City. Well, we'll give a couple spoilers. You and Mom are in the Elite 8, man. So it's pretty good odds someone might walk away with it.
we were texting each other this morning when the standings came out. She's pretty excited. So congratulations to her, and it's a good final 8 going into the home stretch.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We'll get to that here just a second. First off, I'm glad this worked out, that we were able to get you on, because you were on my list of people to have on the show between now and episode 300 is fan appreciation, if you will. So, man, thank you for being along for the ride with Fantasy, the podcast, and appreciate the support and all that, man.
It's been a great year. Thank you for all you do. And coincidentally, I was tied for 3rd for the top points this week, so it worked out well.
Excellent. I love it. Yes, sir. Beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. What'd you think of the Roval this weekend?
We had a great time.
That's right,
Saturday.
you were there. Yes,
Yeah. So we are Charlotte people. We live in Harrisburg, which is real close to the track. And I went on Saturday with some friends, and then on Sunday, my son and I, Aiden, like to head out to the Charlotte track whenever they are in town. So he is my main man at the track. He loves it. He can sit there all day long and watch the cars go around. He does struggle from time to time about going to the bathroom. It is coincidentally the same time where we get snow cones and chicken nuggets and all the other snacks. So we had a great time. It was a lot of fun, and loved the Charlotte Roval. It's pretty calm till about 5 to go, and then the circus came to town, and it got pretty exciting. So a new winner in the playoffs this year, and we are moving on with those 8 drivers.
Yes, sir. You got it. How old is your son?
He is 5 years old. He'll tell you he's 5.5. He's got his headphones on. He listens to the broadcast. He's got his favorite driver, which is the 22 driver, Joey Logano, as well. And we just root for him, and we just have a good time together. I love that he loves it, and it's just a really good time for me as a father.
That's awesome. I saw the picture that you had posted, and I was out of town this weekend, went to Philly for a couple wrestling things, and it was my first time away from my kid. He will be 8 months old this week, and the whole time I'm away, all I'm thinking is, man, I can't wait to take him to a race, and I can't wait to take him to a wrestling thing and start doing some father-son shit like that. And I'm pumped, and I don't want to fast forward this time too much, but at the same time, I can't wait for him and I to be able to go out and do things like that. So that's awesome. You guys were able to have that moment together.
Yeah, he does a great job. He just started kindergarten. He listens really well. We've been to Darlington twice. We've gone to Charlotte multiple times for truck races and things. And he's going to have more races on his schedule before anybody else here pretty soon, because that's what he likes to do. And when the season draws to a conclusion, then it's Bengals time. So that's what we like to do together.
Awesome. I love it. All right. Well, let's run down the standings here real quick. From a points perspective, after 3 races, Kristen Hogland made her way back up to first with 302. David, man, you finished in second, as well as Josh Rolfe with 297. Henry Fletcher in fourth with 287. Steven in fifth with 275. Your mom in sixth with 267. And drum roll, please. Yes, believe it or not, the professor has made it to the round of 8, barely, in 7th with 266. Michael, Blind Spot Pod in 8th, wrapping out our top 8 there. Brett Morris, Kevin Hahn, Robert Riggs, and Justin Hughes just missing it out there. And those are our 4 that are eliminated. After our bonus point reset, Kristen is starting the round of 8 with 34. Henry Fletcher and you, sir, are starting with 23 apiece. Your mom's got 15. Josh has 14. I've got 12. And Mike and Steve both have 11. So, not too many points separate, let's call it 3rd through 8. So we'll see what happens here for the final 4.
Yeah, I think Kristen Hagland's got access to my computer, because every week she has the same fix as me, and she does a wonderful job, and she just kind of keeps legging it out a little bit. And I talk to Mom there on Saturdays usually, and we're pretty close, but Kristen's got us covered right now.
She's well. So here, all you got to do is make it to Phoenix, and then it's an even playing field. But yeah, that's she's just had a leg up on everybody this year. And for me, I had to go pretty hard, because I did not last year I got eliminated after finally making it into my own playoffs. I got eliminated in the first round. And so I went hard to make sure I could advance. And now it's some slim pickings for these last 5 races for me. So we'll see if we can't make a miracle happen here. And definitely looking forward to have the Final Four on the last week of the show, or the last week of the season as well. So good times there. What do you say, sir? You ready to make some picks?
I am.
All right. We are headed to Sin City, where it has been somewhat of a Chevy and Toyota show over the last couple of trips there. Chevy had 4 out of 5 in the top 5 in the spring race. Toyota had 3 out of 4 in the playoff race last year. Ford, however, has not won since Joey Logano back in February of 2020 in Las Vegas. And like I said, now is where it gets interesting. Who do you have left for these last 4 races? What's your strategy if you are in the round of 8 in Lap Traffic Fantasy Week? We'll find out this weekend. But first, it is time for our picks. Sir, I'll start with you. Who do you have for the Xfinity Series?
For the Xfinity Series, I'm going to go a little safe here in the first round of the 8 remaining. I'm just going to take Ty Gibbs this week and save a few for the remainder of our time together, but Ty Gibbs will be my Xfinity pick this week.
I'm with you. And so it's funny, last week, right? Everybody but one took AJ Allmendinger. I've got a feeling that Ty Gibbs is going to be a popular pick for people to save. Like, I've got Noah Gragson twice. He's won at Las Vegas. I was really contemplating taking him. But like you, I am going to go with the 54 of Ty Gibbs. All right, Sunday Cup. Who do you have to maybe get Lady Luck on their side?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it's slim pickings. So I'm going to save a few for that final round there. But I'm going to go with the Chevy driver, and I'm going to go with the Chevy driver that has led laps in the last 3. He's also had 3 straight top 10s, and I think he is the best out of all of them right now. I'm going to go with William Byron this weekend at Las Vegas.
William Byron. I like that pick, sir. I am going to go Ford, and I was torn between Logano, but I am going to go with our winless driver in the top 8, and I'm going to see if Ryan Blaney can't get me some points this weekend.
I think he can.
I think he can too. I hope he will. All righty, man. Well, listen, great to talk to you, and who knows, maybe we'll be talking to you again here in a couple weeks with the Final Four, sir.
Sounds great. Talk to you then.
Awesome, man. Thanks for the support. Appreciate it. Thanks for being a part. Counting down here to 300, man.
You got it.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
All right, Lap Traffic Nation, that is going to do it for episode 294. Make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, Twitter @LapTrafficPC. Huge thank you to everybody that was on the show today. Mike Henry, Jason Majewski, Janice, Brian Neudorff, and David James. What a packed show. Can't wait to see what we put together for next week. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya!